All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started and people will start gradually joining in. So this one is probably gonna be a short one. There's not a whole lot to say about Clever, but it is a fantabulous tool that I'm really hopeful that you and your students will be able to use, especially during this time. So if you've never heard of Clever before, it is, oh, hold on one second, let me start my recording. Good, okay. So Clever is a single sign-on program, and it's also sort of like a database for us to collect all of our online resources in one place. So it allows us to keep track of all of the online resources that our students use in our class. And then it also allows us for our curriculum and that kind of stuff. It is all, it allows us to give one password instead of a different one for each one of our curriculums. So that's why we started using it. We have used it mainly in the elementary so far, but it is available for the secondary as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And where is my computer screen? Let's see. Try it again. There it is. Okay. So I'm going to start here. So this is what Clever looks like. Just real simple for signing in. To get to Clever, you can either go through clever.com or you can go on our school website and it's found right here. If our students are using it on an iPad or a phone, they will need to have the Clever app downloaded as well as the program that they're trying to upload because it will switch them back and forth. So it'll sign them in through Clever and then take them directly to the app that they're trying to use. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Clever. And it should automatically log me in, but I will show you what that process is if it does not. It's thinking. All right, so I'm going to go over here just for a second. So on clever.com, you'll have a couple different options. You'll have login as a student or teacher school admin. You'll log in as a teacher, obviously. Yeah, so it'll take me back out. Let me go back out here. I had to log into Clever to get into my Zoom, so not re-log out. Okay, here's where it goes. So it'll go here and it should find your school, but if not, you'll just have to type in your school district or either the school district name or the school you're working at. So Wahluke. And so you can see the junior high, the high school, preschool, birth to 3, all the elementaries, Sentinel Tech, and the high school are all found here. So go to the one that you need. I'm under school district there. And then you'll log in. And you'll log in with your regular Google account. If you're on a Chrome browser, it usually just automatically logs you in, which is what it's going to do for me here. And then it takes you to your main page. Now your page is going to look a little different than mine because I am an admin. So I have the full access to this. But these are all the apps that are going to be found on yours. And then I will show you what the teacher perspective looks like in just a second. So you'll have under Math, iReady, iExcel. You'll have Reading Plus, ReadyGen, Rivet, and Reading Quiz under Reading. Quaver for music. You'll have all of your Google apps on here. This Learn More About Clever is the Help Center, and then the Academy will take you step by step on how to use it. So if you want additional assistance outside of this training, you can go to these two, and it will show you all that stuff. And then down here is the more apps that are just sort of a general. iExcel is down here again for some reason. Connect Ed, Classcraft, Kahoot, Nearpod is down here, News ELA, RazKids, Scratch, Zoom, Typing.com, Flipgrid, and then PBIS rewards are all found down here. If there is a specific one that you are using that you know is found on here, let me or Keith know, and we can see if we can add that. But I'm going to go ahead and go over to, and I'm going to sign into a teacher's account so we can see what the teacher's perspective will look like. And then I'll do the same thing so you can see what your students will see as well. So log in here. Okay, there it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and go in. Oh. Maybe it's being slow. Here it goes. All right, while I'm waiting for that to load, I'm going to see. Yes, students will need the Clever and the iReady app both on their personal devices in order for it to work. If they have just the Clever app, it will just take them to like a browser for that. But if they only have the iReady app, it will not log them in. They're going to have to put it like in a personal login, which they will not have. StudySync should be on there at this time, but you do have access to that through the waffle on your Google browser. They should have access to all of these. Sometimes some of them are grade specific, so the students that are in elementary will probably not see the McGraw-Hill stuff since that's all high school. Shouldn't. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my teachers, and I'm just going to go to the first one here. All right, so it's going to take me over and give me the perspective of this teacher. I just picked the top one here. Here it comes. Karen, if you are part of this training, thank you. And for having your last name as an A so I can click on you. So I'm just going to show you what it will look like here, maybe. Internet's being slow a little bit here. Okay, so here you see this is what she's in the preschool, so she only has access to reading, ReadyGen, the Google information, Clever, and then they have these ones are the district apps, so Zoom, WeVideo, Nearpod, and Flipgrid are all added on here. The thing that I like the best about Clever is this right here. And these are resources that you as a teacher want to share with your students. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And so you can see all of her students are found to the left over here. And you can decide on if you want all your students to see these resources, or you can also edit it where certain resources are only seen by specific students. So that's, but these are going to be where they're all collected. So I'm just going to show you how to do that. Right here is the add button. You'll click add, and then you have an app, a link, or a category. So if you are putting a ton of resources on here for your students to see, I really do recommend having a category on there. That just makes sure that, oh, we're going to be in reading right now, so go to the reading resources or math resources or whatever. The link is just a website, and then an app. These are the ones that are available in Clever. Some of them might need district approval, so I always suggest if you are seeing an app that you really want us to just tell the district and we can download that for you. So I'm just going to do an app, a link, not an app, a link. I'll click on that. And this is what it looks like when you need to add a link. So the first thing is I need to have the website. So I just found this one. It's one of my mini email suggestions. Take that one, highlight that. I'm going to paste that in here. So that's this. And then I'm going to label the link. So this is Scholastic. And then here's where my category is at. So I'm required to add a category. It will always start under newly added, but as you're adding more, it will just go into, you know, your general apps, and then you can create your category here if you don't want that. And then you can pick a little icon. So if it is an app that you know you're going to use quite a bit, you could always upload the logo, or you can just click one of these. So I'm just going to click this one, and then I'm going to add a link. And there it is. So now when students come in, they'll come to this page starting off, and then you can say, okay, go to my page. So they'll go to your page. I want you to go to Scholastic today. They can click Scholastic, and it will take them right in. Maybe. It'll take them right over to that website that I just saved. So then students can start working. If you've been in a couple of my other trainings, I have said this, so I apologize for the people that have been in all of my trainings. But students, it will often take them no less than 3 clicks to get lost or to get sidetracked. And so what we really want to make sure, especially if we're starting to do a lot more technology with them, without us sort of being right there to make sure that they're on task, is to give them as little clicks as possible. And that's what Clever really does, is it gives us the ability to put all of our resources on one place, and then they only have to go to that one place to find all those resources. So those are all found here. There is, in addition to your page, there's also a district page. So these are resources that have been shared by us. So that's what these all ones are that are on the main page. And then there's the Just You. So for you as the teacher, you could also really be needing some of these resources just as a placeholder, rather than, you know, like, you know, adding them to your bookmarks bar and that kind of stuff. You can add them on here to that Just You section, and they're only visible to you, but it's a place that you can go in and you can, you know, collect those resources so that you can have easy access to when you're lesson planning or figuring out what you're going to do next, or you're checking out the website before you post it over to the other, to your page. That can be all done here. If you are not sure of the kind of resources or the apps that are available, right here under library, you will see the full access to all of the resources that Clever currently has. So these are all the apps that are available that you can then add to your page. And they are organized by online activities, enrichment activities, by subject, grade level. Most popular is found on here. All resources are found on here. So you can go in and say, oh, I want to use ABC Mouse for teaching. And if I like this, I can add it, or I can install it and, you know, say, yes, I want to do that. Just make sure that it is something that if it's, you know, something like this that does have a lot of resources, but you do have to pay for it, that you make sure that we do have a subscription to that before you add that. So let me see if I have any questions. Different classes by what way? Are you thinking like if you have, oh, by grade level? I believe it's by teacher at the moment, not by grade level. I don't think Class Dojo is on there at this time, but I think that is an app that we can add here. I will have to double check that, Godfried. I don't, let me see if I can go into a secondary student's account and see what that looks like from there. There's Keith's answer there. Rosters are synced from Skyward. So no, there isn't a way to change that at this time. So let me go in. I will open up a student's perspective so you can see what the students would see. Sorry, my internet is being a little slow today. Now it's freezing. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and go to students. All right, so I'm just going to go into the students since they're high school. Let's see what the high school looks like. Forget Epic. I would let me see if it's available for us to go through and see if we can download it district-wide, because I think there are multiple teachers that are using Epic. But we want to make sure that it's something that everyone's using. Okay, so here is what this student sees. So you can see some of their apps are a little different. ReadyGen, we do have full access. And then you can see they have their ConnectEd, iExcel, and Nearpod on here. Does not look. Keith, remind me that we need to look and see if the high school teachers have their separate pages or not, or if that's something that we need to add for them. Because they should see, since there's multiple teachers, they might not have that page unless you add them to it when you create one of those pages. But any other questions as of right now? No, okay. So on how to create those pages and how to add a link and that kind of stuff, that's all found on that e-learning site. I know you guys have likely seen this over and over and over again now, but this is going to be how to add a page. So if you're wanting to create your own personal page and then add your students, you can do that from here. How to add that link. And then there's a ton of resources under that Clever Help Center. It has so many different resources, videos, it has documents and materials to look at all from there. I think the one that I like the best is back here. Go back to my account. There is in both English and Spanish a document that you can send your students that gives them directions on how to get into Clever. So it's pretty straightforward. It's a really nice tool. I love that it's completely made for us and made for Clever, and it's available in both languages rather than us having to try to create that ourselves. I am sorry, my internet is being just a little slow today. Back to my portal. Loading. gonna make me log in again. Yep. So for our younger grades, there is a way to do badging, which allows the students to just look at their camera. It gives them a little badge, a little QR code that will log them in automatically. I'm not as concerned about our secondary students doing that because it's the same login for when they're logging into the Chromebooks and that kind of stuff. But if you do need something like that, let me know and I can help you get that set up. So I'm gonna go ahead and, now that we're here, go to Clever Help Center and give you a little tour of all the different resources that are found there. So it'll give you a little overview of what is Clever, what devices work with Clever, you know, how can I learn more about it, creating an account, all that kind of stuff. This is the part that I like the best, is the logging into Clever, because I can create 100 different videos about it, but sometimes they just need a printout document, and they do a good job at showing what the badge looks like, how you as a teacher can do that, and then also like how students can get it and that kind of stuff from there. So let me go to one. So how do students log in onto the Chromebooks through Clever, the Clever badges, the single sign-on, all that kind of information is found right here. Help Center here. And this has tons of stuff for district admin, for staff, for teacher, for student or parent. So if you're trying to get your students logged into this, this is going to be where you're going to find a lot of those resources. There it is. So it can help explain what it is, how to find it, how to get in there, and then how do I help my students? And there's little videos and little stuff, information here that you can do. Instructional guides, all that kind of stuff can be found on here. Anyone have any other questions? Yes, Amber, I see you raised your hand there.
I'm a little confused. I'm sorry, I was a couple minutes late getting in to this one. I'm a little confused still on how to integrate Clever with Nearpod with my Google Classroom. So I want to use Clever to get me to Nearpod so I can do little quizzes embedded in a slideshow, or because they have that quiz, the multiple choice quiz thing that you can do. And so
Yeah.
I want to be able to ask, I want to be able to have interact, I want to have videos with little quizzes right after, and I want to use Nearpod for that, and I think it would be great for that. So they have to have Clever, Nearpod, and Google Classroom as apps, and they have to log into all three, or how does that work as a smooth transition?
It's entirely up to you. So I'm just providing resources. So you can either use Clever or Google Classroom, or you can use both. To get your students into Nearpod, you don't usually need them to sign in through Clever for that. That's more for the teachers for that.
Oh, okay.
Because they are coming in just as like for Google Classroom as a code for
Okay.
that. So
Right.
if they're in as a student, they don't need to log in through Clever. If you're having students, you know, create a presentation for class and they're using Nearpod, then they'll have to go through Clever to get access to that.
Okay.
So if you're using Nearpod, I would suggest just using Nearpod and Google Classroom. And then if you're wanting to use Clever to, you know, collect for yourself your resources or collect specific websites that you want to share it with your students at a different time.
So for me to use Nearpod, I need Clever, but
Yes,
they don't.
they
Okay.
don't. No.
All right. So I build through Clever and Nearpod, and then I can post it in Google Classroom, and they won't know the difference.
Yeah.
All right. Yay. Okay. Because I was wondering about how that. I haven't used either Nearpod or Clever before, so I was a little worried. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome. So am I getting yours? They won't need another code. That if you're already using a code with them, it should be all ready for them to go. It's more for the people that haven't started using those codes that would need them at this time. But if they're using the devices or if they're using devices they've used before, it should remember them for later. It's just that first time that they might need some help, especially our younger kids might need some help getting logged in, which is why we're starting to look at how do we get those passwords and that kind of stuff out to our parents to help them with that. Any other questions on here? Well, as I said, this is going to be a little bit of a short one. If you have any questions, you're starting to build a page on Clever, or you're starting to look and see how you could use that in your classroom, and you're getting a little lost, please just shoot me an email and I can see if I can help you with that. And if there are specific apps that you are interested in having on there that you think we're using district-wide, let us know, and then we can sort of see what it would look like if it was just, if you're using one program in your classroom, we can see if we get that app just added to your classroom as well. The Clever Academy, it does have a lot of really good information that goes step by step by step on how to do all the different things. It's a pretty easy tool. So if you have any, I mean, the fact that you're able to get on a Zoom, I think you should be good at figuring out how to use the Clever program. But if you do want some other additional access on there, definitely go for it. That's how I learned how to use it, was through that academy. We access other students. For different grades in the high school, is that what you're thinking? The junior high. So all students should have an account. So you should be able to add them to your class or to the ability. I will create a video because that's a good point. I will create a video showing how to add students to your page so that they can access those materials. Since I have it mainly focused right now on the elementary, because that's what we started off with. But so I will get those out. My hope is to have all of these instructional trainings as well as all the videos for the teachers done by this weekend, so that you have all the resources, and then next week I can start working on the parent, that kind of stuff before spring break gets started. So I will add that one. Thank you for telling me that. And I can add that so you can see that. Any other questions? All right, well, have a great rest of your day. Shoot me an email if you have any other questions, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow for Flipgrid. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.